NBC seems to have bad luck at the Winter Olympics. Other than the disastrous viewership rating, NBC created a controversy by refusing an Olympic ad featuring Enes Kanter, who's outspoken about Beijing's treatment of Uyghurs. But this gracious gesture toward Beijing didn't help the network gain favor. NBC's Olympic host, Mike Tirico, abruptly left Beijing 3 days earlier than scheduled. Rumor has it that he upset the CCP by acknowledging that China is the nation where COVID began and mentioning the mistreatment of Uyghurs. No matter how NBC tries to avoid it, the CCP's politics are what the games might be all about. Hello, welcome to Lei's Real Talk. I'm Lei. NBC has tried very hard to walk the fine line between not upsetting the CCP and not losing viewers for being pro-CCP. But this is a mission impossible because the Beijing Olympics is designed to be political. Let me show you how the CCP's politics have left a bad omen in the Games. The 2022 Olympic opening ceremony was designed by China's celebrated movie director Zhang Yimou. Zhang explained in a Xinhua interview that the inspiration for the theme came from a line in a poem by the famous Tang Dynasty poet Li Bai. The snowflakes on Yanshan Mountain are as big as a sail. The word sail here is pronounced Xi. You may say the sound of Xi Jinping's name is accidental. Let me explain the poem. You will see why it's not so simple. The poem is about a woman mourning her husband who died in a war. The first half of the poem described the harsh wintry weather at the frontier, rendering a destitute situation for the woman. The second part of the poem is about the pain of waiting for her husband and her sorrow when confronted with a white feathered arrow left by her deceased husband. Now, Xi Jinping's last name, Xi, is made up of two characters. They are white and feather. By putting together white and feather, that's Xi. A Hong Kong writer who studied feng shui said that quoting this poem is a bad omen for Xi Jinping. Chinese people avoid quoting inappropriately at an important occasion. Who would quote a poem about death and destitution during such a huge celebratory event? And the symbol of the dead soldier has the name of the head of the state in it. With the levels of approval within the CCP's review process, it's hard to believe that this was a mistake. But let's see who is behind the Winter Olympics. The CCP official responsible for the 2022 Winter Olympics is Politburo Standing Committee member Han Zheng. Han's predecessor was the former Politburo Standing Committee member Zhang Gaoli, the man who was embroiled in the sex scandal involving tennis star Peng Shuai. Both Han and Zhang are allies with Xi's political enemies, the Jiang Zemin faction. When Xi walked into the opening ceremony, people noticed his bulky winter coat, which was in big contrast to his wife's elegant outfit. Some Chinese commented that the bulkiness might be due to him wearing a bulletproof vest underneath the coat. Such is the reality of the CCP's 2022 Winter Olympics. You can't watch the games without being exposed to the CCP's politics, whether it's winning or losing. Two of the Chinese-American athletes who are competing for China, Eileen and Beverly or Yi Zhu, are also embroiled in the CCP's politics. Beverly Zhu renounced her U.S. citizenship in 2018 when she was 16 in order to compete for China. Zhu's father, Zhu Songchun, is a Harvard-educated, award-winning AI expert. He was formerly a professor at UCLA and returned to China in September 2020 to establish the Beijing Institute for General Artificial Intelligence and to serve as the head of the Institute for Artificial Intelligence at Beijing University. Chinese media reported that Beverly's decision to compete for China was influenced by her father. Zhu Shongcun's biggest dream is that his daughter will break the long-standing monopoly by Europe and the United States at skating events and represent China, winning gold for her country. Zhu Shongcun said these words with tears in his eyes, and daughter Zhu Yi took them to heart. I found the report hard to believe. Either the Chinese media had grossly embellished it, or Zhu Songchun is a die-hard patriotic Chinese sports fan. After moving back to China, Beverly changed her name from Beverly to Yi and trained with China's former skating world champion, Chen Lu. Even though many say Zhu Yi trailed behind China's best female skater, Chen Hongyi, Zhu was chosen over Chen as the sole skater to represent the country at the Beijing Winter Olympics. Some said that Zhu was chosen because the great father-daughter story is the perfect publicity to inspire more Chinese scientists and athletes to serve China. However, after Zhu fell flat on the ice and finished last in the women's short program team event, Chinese social media exploded with scorn and bitterness toward her. On Weibo, China's Twitter, the hashtag Zhu Yi has fallen gained 200 million views in just a few hours. A comment calling her shameful received over 40,000 likes. In her second performance at the Games, Zhu Yi fell again and fought back tears as she finished the program. She told media that the derogatory comments gave her pressure and affected her performance. I wonder whether Beverly's father realized that he had dragged his daughter into the CCP's politics. In China, athletes' foremost responsibility is to add to the national glory. His daughter now shoulders the burden of winning for the party and the 1.4 billion Chinese people. I don't know how much joy skating has left in this young woman's heart after going through this. When Western media reported on Zhu's feelings of pressure resulting from the negative comments, another Chinese-American athlete who also competed for China defended Chinese social media users. U.S.-born Eileen has become the darling of the CCP and Chinese media after winning gold in freestyle ski for China. She commented about Zhu's misfortune. As someone who actually uses Chinese social platforms, I'm going to say right here that over 90% of comments are positive and uplifting. It's part of the sport and everyone understands that. Okay, let's assume Eileen innocently spoke her mind because she got all positive comments and no negative ones. But her remark is being twisted by China's state-run media into a weapon against the West. State-controlled media outlets published articles with headlines as this one: U.S. media sow discord, Eileen fights back in defiance, piercing their lies. One China expert said that Eileen is the biggest PR weapon the CCP has prepared at the Games in the event that the Peng Shuai sex abuse story gets out of hand. Eileen has effectively played the role of a spokesperson for the CCP. After she won the gold, China's Sports Commission sent a congratulatory letter to her, asking her to continue her efforts and strive for greater glory for the party and the people. After Peng Shuai watched Gu's winning performance next to IOC President Thomas Bach, Eileen certainly didn't disappoint the CCP and said she was grateful that Peng Shuai is happy and healthy and out there doing her things again. At the Games, Gu gave an exclusive interview too. You would have never guessed it. Not CCTV or CGTN, nor People's Daily or Xinhua News Agency, but the Chinese Communist Party's Central Commission for Discipline Inspection. Why would the CCP organization that's responsible for investigating and disciplining corrupt CCP officials interview an 18-year-old Chinese-American Olympic medalist? It's for a political purpose. Through its most powerful organization, the CCP delivers a clear message. Eileen is a superstar who was nurtured by China and Chinese culture. She serves China, period. It aims to stop those who argue that Eileen is an American. I don't blame Eileen for not understanding CCP politics. She's too young to understand what the Central Commission for Discipline Inspection is. I think just like Beverly, she's being influenced by her parent. Eileen grew up with her mother and grandmother in San Francisco. Her mother is said to be the daughter of a former Chinese government official. As I said at the beginning, the Beijing Olympics isn't about sports, it's a political show. It's about the CCP doing everything it can to look great and glorious in front of the world and the Chinese people. But the final vote as to whether they succeeded is not out yet. That's all for today. You've already learned the Chinese word for the day. It's she and white feather. See you next time.